Welcome again tonight to our webinar, Battle of the Books. This is tips to help win the homework fight. And we have the honor of having a guest expert, a return guest expert actually, with us this evening for her second time speaking on one of our webinar events. We have the lovely Elaine Comeau. Now, oh, there she is on the call. Hi, Elaine.
Hi, everyone.
So for those of you that have yet to virtually meet Elaine, I'm going to give you a bit of a background on her as well. So she is actually a mother of 3 young children, a wife, an award-winning elementary school teacher, and the CEO and founder of Daysies Ltd. So she has actually won multiple awards for her products that are targeted for teachers and families. She's actually currently living in a pleasant family neighborhood just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. So for all of those in Ontario, it's actually still quite early for her, and she's in the middle of homework time with her children. So she's enjoyed being an elementary classroom teacher since 1996 and has loved being a mom since 2003. Now, as an elementary school teacher, Elaine decided to create a product line to help kids have easier days, hence the name Easy Daisies. And Easy Daisies was inspired by a parent demand when so many parents asked her to create just a visual routine to help their kids be more independent and cooperative and responsible at home, just like they're taught to be in the classroom. So she's definitely super qualified to be leading this webinar on homework struggles. Now, at this point, Elaine, I will actually pass it over to you. I was going to cover your Dragon's Den experience, but I'm going to leave that for the end to let everybody in on what's coming up for you too.
Oh dear. Well, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if you want to go to the next slide.
Absolutely, we'll start it off here.
Thank you. I'm absolutely honored to be here this evening, and thank you so much for everyone who's on here. I just so appreciate your time. I know how precious time is, and it just is a huge honor for me to have this time with you right now. And I just wanted to ask really quickly if you could type in to even where you wrote your hellos, if you could write if you are a parent or a teacher or both, that would be fantastic. If you could just quickly type in whether you're a parent or a teacher, both, that would be fantastic. And I can actually see that happening. I see daycare, I see lots. That's fantastic.
We have tons of parents pouring in.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I am truly honored to have your time this evening. So thank you very much. I do have lots to share. So I apologize. As I say to my classroom, I can talk really, really fast to get all this in before recess, before the bell rings. And I'm hoping and counting on Reagan to keep me on track here because I have just so many fun tips to share. So before we go to the next slide, I was wondering if you have a definition of what homework is, in if it's in one word or in a quick sentence, what you think homework is to yourself as a parent or as a teacher, or what your children think homework is. It could be a thorn in the side, I know, for some. Fun is not usually a word that would describe homework, but I see lots of great definition. Punishment. I like that one. But yes, there's a lot that can be said about homework time. And on our next slide, I'm just going to sum up what homework can be. And homework is definitely an opportunity for that home and school connection. And it is definitely a tool to me, I think it's definitely a tool for teaching good life habits and skills for success, whether it's prioritizing or time management skills, learning responsibility. It is definitely a time for reviewing and reinforcing what is being taught in the classroom. But it's also an opportunity to provide the time to finish schoolwork and expanding on what is learned in the class. it's definitely just an excellent opportunity to teach good life habits. And we could talk about that. And I know there's debate over whether there's a correlation between homework and academic achievement. And most studies will show that the correlation is actually not an increase in academic achievement. And that will go back to what I think it's actually for, is teaching the good strategies for life habits and successful um, living for your child as they grow older and older. But I was going to share actually that studies will show that homework at the elementary school age level actually has very little impact on academic achievement. So I have to agree with the parents in my classrooms when a grade 1 uh, parent comes in my classroom and says, you know, why are we having this spelling test of 5 spelling words? My child's just going to forget what those spelling words are about. Oh, sorry.
Sorry about
I'm
that.
talking. No, that's okay. But I would actually agree with that parent. It isn't about the spelling tests or the words, but it is about learning and teaching your child just the study habits, and learning how to prioritize and to work independently, and learning those life habits. But yes, if we move on to that cartoon on the next slide, it is funny how homework is often about the parent just as much as it is about that child. And I applaud every person that's on here, because when a parent takes that initiative to care about their child's homework, it's very impactful on the success of your child and how they are going to view their future studies. So thank you for being here. But yes, we're going to look at a quick overview of what we're going to cover on the next slide. And we're going to touch on these 5 key points about how to make homework a smooth sailing, successful, natural part of your day. And it's not going to be that thorn in your side or punishment. But so we're going to take a look at how routine is so important. And it's just a simple tool, but it's probably the most important to establish that consistent routine. We're going to talk about location, and how that environment can help your child be successful. We're going to look at tools that are just easy to have close by, and why it's important to have those around, and how to organize them to make it easier for your child, and cut down on that procrastination and struggle after school. We're going to talk about time, and how much time should we be spending in homework, and how to make it more fun and make it quicker and productive. And we're going to talk about teamwork, and why parent involvement is so important. So we're going to move on. So routine is absolutely important, and I would actually say that it is the most important tool, because when you have that routine, um, children just feel. I'm going to go to the next slide already. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, thank you. So when we're establishing routine, kids, they feel more confident. They feel confident because they feel safe when they know what's happening next, and it automatically assists them in becoming independent. When there's a consistent routine after school, they know the drill. They feel safe, they feel confident, they can just do it by themselves. You'll find you'll have less nagging when you have a consistent routine, because they know, they understand. And we'll be talking about a sample after school routine in a moment. Kids, they will cooperate better um, when they know what's happening next. There's going to be less power struggles, because they feel empowered, because they feel that they are now making the choices, and it was actually the choices that you actually laid out for them. So it's very important to invest that time in making whether it's a visual routine or a routine for your child to follow after school, because at one point they'll feel that they own it. It's theirs. They are doing it. They made the choice to follow it, and there isn't the nagging. You will be so proud of your child, because they are doing it all by themselves. They know what you expect, what is expected of them after school, And it doesn't have to be like a drill sergeant. It's just going to be fun, and they get it, and they're going to do it, and they feel that it was their choice. And less meltdowns and crying on the parent part and on the child's part. And they're learning life habits. And it's so important because, everything that we do, whether it's a struggle, a success, it is a stepping stone for your child to learn from. So when they fall, it's about getting up and how to get up, and it's okay to fall. And routines, they give kids those necessary boundaries to guide them into those life habits, such as developing responsibility, learning how to critically think, and how important just accomplishing, finishing something is. And it's about that journey. It's not about the A or the perfect paper, but it's that learning how to make that journey. And homework is so important in as part of that journey. And so we're going to go to the next slide. And so on this slide, this is actually what my family does. And yes, I have 3 children, and I actually often have 6 children in my house, and they range from the age of 4, and I have 2 5-year-olds that come over. I have 2 9-year-olds that are over. I have a 6-year-old, and we all do the same routine. So our routine is pretty simple. It's very straightforward. We It's washing our hands. We have snack time and sharing time, which is very important, and I'm going to expand on that one later. We then have our quiet work time, our homework time. I call it quiet time for the younger ones. And then we have free activity time. And we actually don't have television on in our house on a school night. And it's very funny because I actually heard about a study about watching television and how actually this one point about it changed my viewpoint about television. And I mean, not that I don't watch TV, because I do have my TV moments, but the studies showed that we use more brain cells staring at a blank wall than we do watching TV.
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, wow, oh dear. But so yes, our after school routine is that washing hands, snack time, and so on. And when we do this, it's very funny. We have this routine, and we do it every day. And I'm thinking of just even last year, we did this all year long. And with the 6 children that I have in my house after school, they all knew what our routine was, and they never fussed or they never complained. And if we ever veered off this routine, they would actually keep each other on track. Even the younger children, the 4 and 5-year-olds, would keep the older ones in check. And having a visual routine at this point is very handy for this. But no matter how old the child is, establishing a routine is important. Children as young as preschool age, they benefit from knowing a routine because they cooperate better, they're less anxious, just because they know what's happening next. And just to touch on snack time, it's so important to have some healthy snacks out after school. And um, just because the neurotransmitters in our brain, they're actually made from the amino acids from the protein in our diet. So in order to keep that up, we want to have high protein foods available for our kids. So like cheese, eggs, nuts, and meats, and rather than the high proteins like crackers and chips and juice and cookies. And it's okay to have that too. Please don't think you can't have cookies and juice. But it's just a little tidbit to tuck in the back of your brain that those proteins are so important for the amino acids that we need in our brain development. Keeping our children hydrated. Water is so great. There are so many schools now that even let children have a water bottle on their desk, because that hydration is so important for the brain. But other good brain foods are like bananas, and blueberries have proven studies that show that they assist in memory improvements, and peanut butter, and just lots of healthy things that are easy to Google and search to if you are looking for other ideas. And if we go to our next, oh, sorry, not even yet. Pardon me, I think I have my children's cough. But if you have multi-age children that you're dealing with after school, like I do, have them all running on the same routine. I get asked this all the time. Am I supposed to have three different routines for my three children? No, no, no. It's okay. When you have them all in the same routine, they actually benefit from that. And what I mean is, children, they follow by example. They're more willing to do a task if everyone else is doing it at the same time. So whether it's getting someone to wash their hands or everyone to wash their hands or have snack time or sharing about their day, or working quietly, they're learning and teaching each other the good habits of prioritizing, of they're learning self-discipline. They're learning how to respect themselves. They're learning how to respect others. So following the same routine is okay. And I often think of those shows like Little House on the Prairie, where the entire class is multi-age group. They're learning from each other. They're helping each other. They're learning leadership. There's lots going on when they're following the same routine. So when younger children are there, they can learn to do homework in the sense of, while their older peers or family members are doing their homework, they can do quiet work. They can look at a book. They can do a puzzle. They can do dot to dot or tracing activities. There's lots, because they are now also learning how to do the study habits we hope that they would have when they are in grade 5 and grade 10. So very important. So if we move to the next slide, we're going to talk about location, location, location. Because you see, homework is already something that is often unpleasant for some children. And so it's so important that we can help them by making that environment pleasant and inviting. But having a consistent location is so important. And by that, I wrote it in the green square there. By having the same location for homework every day, it helps kids to feel that they're already ahead of the game, because they know that they can come, oops, oh, thank you. They can come home and they can put their work down, knowing that they're not going to be asked to move their books because they need the kitchen table for dinner. They won't be bothered by people or distractions, and they don't have to figure out where they're supposed to do their work. So having a consistent spot for your children is great. And mine is the kitchen table. I will say that it's a very long kitchen table, especially when I have 6 kids working there at the same time. Um, Keeping that location clear from clutter and distractions is great, because less is better. And when a child doesn't want to do homework or what they're supposed to do, they could find amusement in anything. So less is always better. And making that location nice and bright and not too cozy is important. And keeping distractions away is great. So turning that computer off, having the TV off, um, and having the parent answer the phone. You don't need the kids to do that if they're trying to focus on their studies. And just be that help for them. So if we move on to the next slide. Yes, so if there was a machine that could help us direct our children to do their homework, that would be great. But unfortunately, that's not one of the tools that any of us have in our house, at least not in my house or in my classroom. But yes, so if we move on to the tools of the trade, um, just having necessary tools at arm's reach for your child is so important. It just cuts away that procrastination and distraction of getting lost in their toys because they were looking for a pencil. Um, Help them have that ready for them. And on our next slide, we'll see some quick and simple suggestions. So one thing I use is I have this wooden cutlery tray that just simply sorts things out, and everything that we would need right away is always there. It is always put back and returned there so that it's ready for the next day. And so there's just cuts away that procrastination. Having a book basket close by with books that they would like quick go-to books like the dictionary, the thesaurus, atlases, even 3-hole punch paper that your child may ask you for, or blank paper, all in a basket close by is super. And it's just handy, it makes it efficient, and you know what? They're going to learn from this, and they're going to learn how to organize this for when they do leave you one day and go to university, and they're going to think, I just got to organize this because this is what I grew up with. This is what I need to do for myself. And you'll be amazed and surprised. And I've taught for a long time, and it's frightful to have students come up to me telling me that I taught them when they were in grade 2, and now they are the senior analyst for Target Canada. It's like, oh dear. But yes, so they will learn these habits and they will remember them. And that's what we want to do with homework time. Another strategy that I don't have on here is just even having a hanging 5-folder desk organizer. And you could label it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And they can put work in there that is according to its dates if it helps you out and them to organize paperwork. Another point is have a homework station where all of this can be placed so so they know where to pull out that basket or that tray. One thing I have hanging on our fridge, I have 3 magnetic baskets, which actually I think are for lockers, but I have them for my 3 children, and they're 3 different colors. My kids take out their planner, their homework papers, field trip notices, and they stick it in their basket right away. And we know it's there. We can come back to it because that field trip notice was in there. The description of a project piece of paper is there. We know where to find it, and that's good for your own sanity too. So if we go to the next point, and later on I'm going to share some great websites that are great for going to, whether you want to make flashcards for practicing math facts, language arts facts, geography facts, points on how to write A+ papers, to doing math drills, to having tools that you might not have at your home when your child says, I need a conversion calculator. Great websites to go to, and then that website actually becomes your calculator or your thesaurus, and we'll come to that later. But time is of the essence, because really no one wants to spend all night long doing homework. It would probably make everyone cry. And so I have a general rule for the length of homework, and in my years of teaching I've come to this generalization, and this is just a guide. It's not the fixed rule by any means, and some teachers will have different philosophies on this. And in general in Canada, homework does not begin until grade 4, but we all know that's not true, and that home reading starts coming home in kindergarten, or the cut-up letters where they have to practice their letter sounds, or the guided reading that comes home, or the home reading program. That starts in kindergarten. And seriously, 10 minutes is great at grade 1 in kindergarten level. And even in preschool, look at a book. They can quietly look at a book, because you know what? Looking at pictures is actually reading. It is the beginning of reading. When reading is meaning, and when they are looking at pictures, they're getting the meaning of a story. And my 5-year-old, she just turned 5, she loves Betty and Veronica comics. And when she started looking at them, because of my 10-year-old, she looked and she thought Veronica was just so pretty, and she loved Veronica. But after her second comic book, she realized through the pictures, and she came up to me and she said, Mommy, I like Betty better. And it's not that she understood the stories, but she just knew from the pictures that Betty was a kinder person, a more kind person. And it was just funny, and it's just through pictures. And I remember teaching kindergarten, and I had silent reading after recess. And by the 5th day, I had a little boy raise up his hand during silent reading, and I asked him what he needed. And he looked at me, he said, Mrs. Comeau, I can't read. I don't know how to read. And that was 5 days later. And we need our children to understand that, you are reading when you're looking at pictures. Because if you can tell me what the story is about by looking at the pictures, you kind of got the idea, and that's great. You got the meaning. And so when we're in grade 2 and 3, 10 to 15 minutes is great. So whether it's practicing those spelling words that come home, or finishing a title page, 10 to 15 minutes is super fantastic. And then by grade 4, it'll probably be about 30 minutes. And always ask your child what they have in their bag, because if they come home and they say nothing, you might want to check their planner too, because often there would be something coming home in grade 4. And they say after grade 4, every grade after that, it's about adding another 30 minutes on per grade. So you can tuck that in your brain as a general rule, but it's definitely not engraved in stone. So if we move to the next slide, there's got to be fun ways to do this, because even 10 or 15 minutes can be hard, but there's lots of great timers out there. And using a timer is a great way for a child to see that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There's got to be an end to this torture. So having a timer is a great way. And you know what? You don't have to spend lots of money on timers, but there are lots of fun ones out there. But here's some creative ones. And a color pizza wheel. You could draw this. And what I mean by this is drawing a big circle on a blank piece of paper. And you don't even need to use a ruler if you don't want to, but draw some pizza slices. So if you want your child to read 6 pages or do their 6 pages of math or whatever it is, you draw 6 slices, so drawing those 3 lines to cut your pizza into 6 slices. And then when they are done a page or reading a page, they can color in that piece. And by the end of that, when the whole entire pizza is colored, they are done. They are done. And this is a great one for children who need to visually see that there is an end in sight, that they have accomplished something. And when they color even one piece of pizza, it's like getting a pat on their shoulder, and it's rewarding to them. And it's a strange feeling, like how we feel when we cross something off a to-do list. You feel kind of good about it. You did it. And so coloring that piece of pizza is great. And you know what? Coloring is therapeutic, so it gives them a little break when they're coloring that piece of pizza. I can't even speak now. Puzzle piece timer. And what this is actually just getting a puzzle, whether it's a simple wooden puzzle thing that you dump the pieces out, and they could just place those pieces back in. So it works the same. So instead of coloring, you're placing a puzzle piece back in, or they could be building a puzzle. But you want to make sure they're not building a 300-piece puzzle, of course. So this is, I'm talking like a 10-piece puzzle, 12 at max. And then the popcorn pickup timer, what I mean is by getting a jar and having them put a fistful of popcorn kernels in every time they have completed something you wanted them to have done. And then when they are finished, or you've drawn a line on the jar to where you want them to reach, you can make that popcorn, and then it's part of their reward and snack time. And so there's lots of fun ways to do it, and every time they get to go to their visual timer here, whether it's allowing them to kinesthetically do something different from studying or reading or doing their math, it gives them a little break, but it's a reward at the same time. But this kind of ideas for timers, it's teaching them intrinsic reward, where so you're trying to teach your child, you know, you can accomplish this. I'm not giving you $1. I'm not paying you to do your homework. You can do this, and it's great, and you feel so good when you're done. And when you finish coloring that pizza, you're done. That's so great. So if we move on to the next slide, teamwork. And what I mean here is parent involvement. And we hope that homework is understood to be a home and school connection. So when I have my parent meetings with the teachers, I'm sorry, when I have parent meetings with the parents in my classroom, I let them know that we are a team. Our best interest is their child's. And I know that every class I get, I'm mostly a primary school teacher, and so I say I actually fall in love with my class. I become very protective of my students, and I want them to be successful. And I want to do my best, and I want to help that parent as well, because we are a team, and between the teacher and that parent, where the person, the adult, that child will see the most. And so showing that support is so important. And the best way to do it is to be available and to be involved. Because when we show the child that we care, they will care more as well. And I think our next slide shows an equation. So when we are available as a parent and when we are involved, it shows that we care. And that caring and that involvement will result in a very confident child who will take pride in his or her work. And in all my years of teaching, I have seen children who are crushed by parents who who may not have the time to show their child the interest in their schoolwork. Children who are excited about bringing something home that they did and they worked so hard at, and parents just disregard. And I'm trying not to get emotional,
Oh,
but oh dear, sorry, but it's so important to be there for your child.
you obviously
And
have such a personal experience with this being both a teacher and a parent. You've seen both sides.
yes, I have, and I've definitely been a teacher longer than I have been a parent, and I've learned a lot. So yes, I'm a very mushy person. I was going to be a children's doctor, but I obviously can't do that. But yes, so if we look at this, when when a child shares about their day, now this is why snack time is so important. After school snack time, so important, because this is the time your child can talk to you about their day. And this is what you want to do. You want to encourage them to share. Because when a child shares about their day, they are demonstrating that understanding of what they learned that day. And that sharing gives you as a parent insight on their successes, their dislikes, their struggles in their day. Because, sharing about their day is actually part of homework time. And when a child can talk about their day, they are telling you what they've done, what they've learned, what they've experienced at school. And you're helping them actually to enforce what they have learned. You're allowing them to demonstrate that understanding of the concepts they've learned, and it's allowing you as a parent to understand that as well. When you help your child to talk about their learning, it's very easy for them to say, I don't know, or nothing. But instead of saying, what did you learn today, or what did you do today, where they will say nothing, or I don't know. And you want to avoid that. You want to try to be more direct and specific. Try to say things like, um, I, I think that your class had computers today. What was something you did in computers? Or how's that novel study coming on Charlotte's Web? What chapter did you guys read today? And keeping it at questions where they can't just say yes or no, but open-ended, so they have to explain more than a no or yes. And you know what? When your child knows that you know what they are learning, they're going to be more likely to ask you for help. They're going to be more likely to share their frustrations with you. You want to be nearby. So when a child is in grade 3 or under, even grade 4, kitchen table is an excellent space to have homework time, because if you are making dinner, and this is of course in the dream world where you aren't rushing off to soccer, skating, acro, ballet, and I get it because I'm there too, but like we try to schedule that homework and as soon as possible. We even do this on Fridays. We stick to the routine, we get our homework done, and my kids love it because they know they have all of Saturday and Sunday homework free, unless of course we want to review because there's a test coming up on Monday or Tuesday. But you want to be able to be close by to check on their homework and how it's going, and offer to check their work after as well. offer to quiz them if they were studying on spelling words. And offering praise for that good effort is so important because you know what? Everybody needs a pat on the back. And even as parents, we feel good when someone tells us, you know, our kids are so well behaved. We get that. It's like a pat on the back too. So we want to acknowledge their time, their effort, and whether it's using one of those creative timer tools that we mentioned earlier, every time they're coloring that pizza piece or adding a puzzle to their homework timer, they are being acknowledged for that time they're spending or that page they just finished. And then also follow up at school the next day. Ask them if they did hand in their homework and how it went. And you know, studies are going to show you that it's more important to praise the effort and the journey of getting there than the result of that A. I mean, we all want to strive for that A, don't get me wrong. An A is wonderful and a B is fabulous. But I think homework is about teaching that journey and teaching them these life skills so that they will be able to achieve that A and that B and just take pride in their work because if we can establish the importance of their effort, they're going to get that good and better grade. And I think we're on our next slide. So these are the websites, just a few. I thought I'd throw out three of them there. The third one there is very cute because they have videos made by children teaching children. So whether it's adding three-digit numbers or grammar skills, it's actually taught by kids, for kids. Um, there's the first one, if we look at the first one, there's lots of cool strategies. So if you are just wanting to review things or your child actually says they don't have any homework, they could play around on these sites. That's okay. And the second one has really cool tools. So you could type in a year and it'll give you historical facts for that year. That's the one with the conversion calculator and the periodic table when you just don't have those at home. I used to have encyclopedias in our house when I was growing up, and now we have Google. So there's lots of things. Um, just a side note about computers. As a school teacher for many, many, many years, I've seen a lot go on with children and computers. And I think that the safest place for a computer to be is not in your child's bedroom. And I know that could be hard, and with all the devices that they have that are handheld, nothing wrong with leaving it on the kitchen counter when it's bedtime. And we have our computer right in our kitchen, so we all can see what's going on, and that is the safest place. And um, I could say that if you were to leave right now, that the most important point to leave us is to just be available and to care about your child's learning, which you all are demonstrating already because you're here with me. And I just want to say thank you so much for that. And I think I talked really fast, and I apologize because the last time I did a webinar, we went, I think, 30 minutes over. But so I'm trying my best to talk really fast. But I'm just so honored to have your time with me today. So thank you.
No, that's absolutely no problem, Elaine, because I'm sure the audience will love the fact that we have a great amount of time to answer questions now. So, as long as everybody's had a chance to jot down these homework help sites, I will move on to the next slide and prompt everybody to go to their question box and toss in any question, any comment you'd like to share, any concern that you have about the whole homework process that Elaine may be able to address both as a parent and a teacher. So we will get started with all of the ones that are pouring in. You ready to go with these, Elaine?
I am. I am. I will do my best.
Alrighty, actually, to begin, I will let you know as well that we had a couple of very sweet audience members as well express their emotion concerning really being involved with your child's day and how it does break their heart too to not see that sometimes as a teacher. So you're definitely not alone with that one.
I am so sorry. I got emotional. I'm a funny person.
No, that's the best kind of presentations are equal parts organization and emotion.
Oh dear. Thank
So,
you.
okay, the first question here. Um, an audience member asks, how can she get a child to focus doing homework? Actually, you'll probably have great experience in this one. When she runs a home daycare, and she tries to get her child to do homework at the kitchen table, but she has so much going on within the home at the same time.
And that's an excellent question. And you know what? In the last year, I actually had 6 children in my home because of that. I was helping out friends and I was doing their daycare for them. So I absolutely get this. And whether it's a classroom with 22 or 30 students, or having 6 or 8 kids in your house at once, and when you're doing a daycare, I get that it's multi-age. And I had that because I had a 4-year old, 2 5-year olds, a 6-year old, 2 9-year olds. And what I would suggest is, and it's never too late to start, really, it's never too late to start to make uh, good ideas happen in your home, in your daycare, in your classroom. And number one, I would go back to that point of establishing a consistent routine. And kids of multi-age will can follow the same thing. So create a visual routine. And I apologize I say that because you don't have to create one because they are out there and I know that. But having a visual routine just brings all the kids together to understand these are the steps that we're going to follow every time we come into this house. We're all going to wash our hands. We are all going to have snack time together. And the reason I say you want to follow these steps because it helps you. There is only one of you, and you have all these kids, and you want to help each one of these kids to be safe and to have fun and to be successful in school. And the ones that are actually having homework, you want them to be able to have that time. And so how I did it is I actually did follow those steps of washing hands, snack time. Let's talk it out now. Let's talk about our day. Let's get it out of our system right now. Because right after this, we're gonna have quiet work time. And quiet work time could be playing puzzles for those who don't have any written homework or reading homework. It could be looking at books. You could establish a quiet spot in your house where, okay, you know what? This room, or if you see someone sitting at the kitchen table still working, that is what we're going to do. And the hard part here is if you're going to have just one child working, it is going to be very hard for that child. So that's why I said everybody does everything at the same time. So if we're going to have quiet work, we're gonna have everybody have quiet time at the same time. So it's homework time, and I'm fortunate I have a basement. So I'm not gonna make the 4 and 5-year olds sit there while my 9-year olds are doing pages and pages of math. But they will sit and they will do it for 10 minutes, looking at a puzzle or coloring, whatever it is. They're gonna do that because it's gonna help my 9-year olds sitting at the table to figure out, okay, you know what? I'm in the mood. Everybody's doing it. It's a pure thing of where if everybody's doing it, I can do it too. So I'm going to focus on my work because everybody's having quiet time. Because then children are very unique. In those early primary grades, it's all about fairness. And so if we could establish and get that out of the way, it's one less battle because it's not going to be fair if he gets to play and I have to sit here. Nope, everybody's going to have quiet time. So we're going to have that quiet time, and then I have a timer so all the kids know that when that 10 minutes is up, the younger ones get to go downstairs and they cannot disturb the older ones who are doing their work. And the older ones, when they are done, they can have free time too. So it's absolutely fair. I hope that helps.
Perfect. That actually covers a few of the questions being asked in here, so that's perfect. I will move on to the next one that's actually related as well. This is something that we touched on having, or the real importance of having a parent present while the child is doing homework. We have an audience member asking or commenting about the fact that she actually has a child that won't work if she's sitting right beside them. Is there a certain time maybe then when the parent should be leaving the child and allowing them to kind of go out on their own with their homework? Or what would you suggest in that case?
Yes, absolutely. And I think at any age we can relate to how we don't want our parent always there beside us, telling us how to do and what to do, or erase that line over. But being nearby, and if you know that your child is not a child who wants you hovering and being there for every word they are writing, it's okay to say, you know what, I'm just going to be over there getting dinner ready, so if you need me, just let me know. Or you can say, I'm going to be back in a few minutes just to see how it's going. Or, hey, I see you're on question 5. When you get to question 8, can you let me know? And I just want to see how it's going. And it's okay to do that. And it's okay to walk away. During your snack time with your child, you could say, hey, what do you have for homework? And then they will kind of let you know what they have. And you can talk it out right then and there and say, oh, is that something you're going to need help with? Or since you're doing a map for geography, do you need me to help you get the atlas out? And then it lets them know that you care and that you are there, that you are available. And nothing wrong with checking in, and your child will appreciate that. Um, and of course, as they get older, they're going to want more of their own independence. But nothing wrong to say, hey, how's it going? What question are you on now? And when you're during that snack time, you're establishing, hey, how many math questions do you have for homework? And he says, oh, I gotta finish up to question 23 and I'm only on question 8. It gives you that knowledge so that when you are checking in, because your child is now in grade 7 and they might be doing their homework in their bedroom, you could pop your head in and say, hey, just, hey, if you're on question 19, let me know. I'm going to bring you up a snack or something like that. And so you're still there, you're still available. And because they know you care, they're more likely to ask you for help.
Awesome. So it's really just letting the child know that you're accessible. That's the huge emphasis there, right?
Yes. But that accountability that you need to know what their homework is so that you are asking uh, relevant questions. You're not just saying, are you done? Are you done? Because they don't want to hear that. But if you're saying, hey, when you're on question 19, let me know and I'll bring something up to you.
Absolutely. So, Elaine, we have so many people actually asking as well for those homework help sites. I've just popped them back up on the screen again so that anybody can jot them down if they would like to while we are doing our questions here. Um, on that note, we actually had somebody ask, and I'm not sure if you offhand have experienced this throughout your teaching and parenting years. Are these sites great would you know, for French classes as well, for French homework?
That is an excellent question. I do not have an answer for that. I'd have to look that up. I apologize. Um, I think that there is French on. I think it's one of these sites. I did come across some, and I can add it on later when and I could pass that back on to you, Reagan. There was a site that I found that allows you to convert it into French,
Oh,
so
perfect.
that yes, because I absolutely get it. Uh, I the most recent school I taught at was a French immersion school, but I taught on the English side. And it's funny because I had a grade 4 or 5 class, and we often got students who were coming from French immersion who just couldn't do it in French immersion, and that's okay. But now they were struggling with English because they didn't have that as well. And it is hard, and I get that because often we don't have the luxury of having francophone parents as well as an assistant to that child when they are in French immersion.
Hmm.
So I apologize. I don't know if these do convert into French, but I know that there was something I saw. So I will pass that back on to Reagan.
Perfect. Okay, so this is the overwhelming comment here that we have coming from so many people. What would you suggest in regards to developing a homework routine when you are a working parent and you may not be there every night to enforce that routine?
That is an excellent question. And it goes back to that number one point. No matter where your child is going, to establish an after school routine with them. So if they are going into daycare, if they are going to a relative's house or a friend's house, or coming home on their own because they're old enough to be there by themselves and with their siblings, create that after school routine and have it established so that they get this is what you have to do. I'm actually going to be creating an app for that so a parent can see where their child is at after school and in their routine.
Oh, cool.
And nothing wrong with communicating with your child, and whether they come home and they send you an email or a text, or if they're too young for that, that you create a visual routine. And that's why I made Easy Daisies, and it's portable. But on the one that I created, it allows a child to move your expected task into the from the to do to the done, so that you will be able to have your child physically move that for themselves, so they feel like they've accomplished that and got that pat on the back for doing that step of the routine. But you don't have to purchase something. You can create that yourself, whether you create it on a piece of paper and have a check mark box, or a time slot where you have them fill in what time it is, or you draw the clock and you say, okay, this is what mom and dad are hoping that you will have done after school, and give yourself a check mark every time you've finished that step, and then call me when you're done. Or or I can't wait to see this piece of paper, and it could be your pizza page, whatever you want it to be, so that they know the steps. And actually, I'm just thinking of this idea right now, whether I'm not quite sure the age of the child, but so if you're doing an after school routine, draw out that pizza, and then in each pizza slice, write your expectations. Say, wash your hands, have snack, and then another puzzle piece or pizza piece. You could draw um, quiet reading, and then another one, finish your homework, and then at the third or the final piece of pizza, you could call mom when you're done. And they can color in these pieces as they're going, so they're accountable and they know what's expected of them. But there's so many ways to do this, but establishing an expected, consistent routine, so that no matter where they are, and that's why I made Easy Daisy, so that they could take it with them wherever they're going, and so their daycare provider, their babysitter, your neighbor, or the grandparent can see, oh, okay, this is what mom wants us to do after school, so we're going to get it done. And whether it's soccer in there, and add it in on the schedule so that they can see what is expected of them, because it's not fair to expect our child to be grown up and know the steps of a routine when we haven't explained it to them. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely. Here's actually a great question that ties into that routine. Um, we have somebody asking, what happens if their child doesn't actually get any homework? And they're trying to develop this routine, but there's a lot of nights where their child comes home with nothing. Should
That's
they create a little bit of work for them to do on their own, or what's your suggestion with that?
that is an excellent question. Absolutely. So when I have daycare in my house and I have those 6 children, half of them, two of them might have homework. Maybe the 6-year-old will have home reading, but my two 5-year-olds and the 4-year-old, they don't. But you know what? I want them to learn great study habits, and what that means is, yes, let's follow these steps after school. We're always going to come home. We're always going to wash our hands, and then we're going to have snack time and talk about school, and then we're going to have some quiet time. Let's read a book together. Let's read a book. And there's so many great websites, and even going to the dollar store and buying a coloring book for $1. Most coloring books now have dot to dot. There's lots of dry erase wipe off books as well. And say, hey, let's practice writing your name, or let's practice um, dot to dot is an excellent one because you could find ones that are counting by fives or tens or twos, and getting them to sit and just to do one page. And it doesn't have to be 10 minutes, it could be just one page. But you're teaching your child that, that's it's important to sit and focus and to complete something, because these are steps we want our child to learn when they are getting homework, that there's things to do, you want to get it done, and the satisfaction of the completion of something, and how to put effort into doing something independently.
Awesome. Now, Elaine, in the middle of the presentation, one of the points that we touched on was location, 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 how important it is for that child to have a certain spot to return to or expect to be seated at to develop that routine. Now, we actually have a single parent commenting on the fact that a lot of the time, because it is just up to them to have a few of their kids in different places at once, their children are addressing a lot of their homework in the car or just on the go while they're kind of working into their siblings' routines. Is there
Absolutely.
anything that you could suggest with addressing homework on the go?
I think again, because in a dream world, yes, we come home and we work on a lovely desk or a kitchen table, but I absolutely get it that it doesn't always work that way. We've done homework in the car, we've done it sitting while one sister is having jazz lessons and the other one's having piano and soccer, and there's nothing wrong with that. But showing the importance of getting homework done is what you want to show your child. So making it a priority and saying, you know what? Yes, your brother has soccer, and I understand you have homework. So we're going to bring that homework, and we're still going to stick with our routine because we want to, have that snack time, talk about our day, and it could be while you're driving and those kids are eating McDonald's in the car, and that's okay. And then when you get to the destination, you're going to make your child understand that it is important to have our homework done, because you know what, if we aren't doing our homework in the car, we're going to be stuck doing it late at night after everybody is tired and we're filled with food on the go, which might exhaust us a little bit. And at the end of soccer and at the end of gymnastics, and whether it's bath time and bedtime, and we still got to get homework done, we've just put we just let our children know that homework wasn't important because we're putting it at the end of the day. So when you're teaching your child that, hey, you know what? Thanks for letting me know that you have homework. We are going to soccer, so let's bring our homework with us because we're going to do it in the car. You're doing absolutely everything right. There's nothing wrong. You don't need a kitchen table, but you're showing them that we're sticking to the routine, that, yes, we're going to have our snack time, talk about school, get our homework done, as well as these extracurriculars, and then we're going to be done. And it's not going to be stressful and a fight later. And you're going to teach these life skills that, it's important to get our studies done at a decent time, right away, get it done.
Perfect. So we've chatted quite a bit about what parents can do for their children to develop that routine. As a teacher, in your past experience, was there anything that you really made a note of kind of relaying to the children before they went home in regards to their homework? We just have some teachers asking on what they can do before they actually pass off the homework experience to the parent.
Yes. So back to that cartoon that we first saw in our slideshow presentation of that child looking out the window to his friend saying something like, I can't come outside and play yet because my dad's not finished my homework. And so as a classroom teacher, I always remind my students, no matter whether they're in grade 1 or grade 6, that they are accountable. They are responsible for their homework. So, you know what? You can't get upset with mommy or daddy because they didn't sign your planner, or because you didn't get to study because you had hockey after school and soccer. It is still your responsibility. And I tell my students that you need to show your parents right away when you get home what you have for homework. And whether it is just getting your planner signed, that is part of accountability. It's teaching your students to be responsible for their own learning. And you want them to do that. And I get it. Some children get picked up by daycare, some children get picked up by grandparents, and that's okay. It is still something we want to help our child understand, our students understand that, it's so important. And, if you don't have a planner as a school teacher, have notebooks that you get your students to write in, and either whether it's just writing a sentence at the end of the day, so the last 10 minutes, whether they're filling in their planners or writing in a sentence, like I have 5 spelling words, whatever it is, you get them to write it down and they show it to their parents. And then you get their parents to initial it or sign it. And it's teaching your students to have accountability, responsibility for their learning. And so this is, and you can tell your students, it's so important to get your homework done right away because you're going to be tired at the end of the day. So you're helping the parents as well, because I've had parents come to me saying, "Can you tell my son to wear socks because he won't wear socks?" And I had really, and this was before I had children, so I just didn't get it. But it is very, very strange the power that a teacher has to tell a child to wear socks. And I did. I told that little boy to wear socks because it's November, and he just shrugged and said okay, and he wore socks all the time. But you know what a teacher says goes a long way. So if you show that that homework is so important and that they need to try to get it done right after when they get home from school, they're going to listen to you. And when you tell them to get their parents to sign it, they're going to hear you. And somehow, some way, a teacher does have a very, very important place in a child's life because they see you every day. And sometimes they see a teacher more than they see a parent. So I applaud the teachers who are here, and I applaud you for caring. And homework is more than academic achievement. It is helping a child have success in their life. So teaching them life habits.
Amazing. That's such a perfect note to actually finish off on. Elaine, thank you so much for that thorough presentation. And I'm so glad that we actually got to have a decent amount of time to address all of those questions. We still have a lot more coming in, and if you don't mind, I will forward them on to you, and hopefully we can turn that into a blog for everybody on the call that can do a bit more research later and get some answers to their questions.
Absolutely. I would be honored. I hope I was helpful.
Absolutely. We've actually got tons of thanks pouring in, so everybody definitely found the benefit in this. Okay, so this next slide is just showing a little more about Easy Daisies. Um, Now, for everybody, Elaine gave a bit of a teaser about what Easy Daisies offers if you aren't familiar with them. Now, they can be visited or even addressed by their handle on Twitter at Easy Daisies. They are great to check out on Facebook, facebook.com/Easy Daisies, and the website www.easydaisies.com, and you can learn more about all of the products and about Elaine. Elaine, you mentioned as well, I know we talked right before we began this call about something that may be going on Dragon's Den again.
Yes, we were on Dragon's Den 2 seasons ago in season 6, and we it was very crazy because I had a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old that I brought on there because the producer told me I had to. And we actually incited a bidding war between all 5 dragons, and that was crazy and a huge blessing and just really crazy. And we did leave with choosing 2 of them to be our partners. And if you go on our website, you could check out that clip if you would like to. And I believe season 8 of Dragon's Den is airing on Wednesday next week. And we were very blessed to have the opportunity to. We're going to have 2 features on this coming season, and I'm not allowed to talk about it any further, but it's just a really exciting opportunity and just a huge blessing, and it's really crazy because it's still off our kitchen table. So we kind of push the homework books aside sometimes, and it's covered in easy daisies.
Amazing, perfect. So everybody look out for that if you're Dragon's Den watchers, and you will
And
recognize Elaine on there.
Reagan, can I just say I would love to see you on Facebook. I'm often on Facebook on the Easy Daisies site, and I would so love it if you came on there and said hello too on the Facebook fan page. And I would just love to see you there. So thank you. Thank you for the honor of just giving me your time tonight.
Amazing. Thank you so much to Elaine. And on behalf of all of the audience that is pouring in their thank yous to you as well, we really appreciate the expertise you always seem to readily supply to us, and not only as a webinar speaker, but as a frequent blog contributor. So, if everybody on this call did find this webinar valuable, feel free to visit community.scholarschoice.ca for more great educational articles, many are which have been written by Elaine as well. And she also has an ebook available that is currently up. Now, on Monday, October 7th, this webinar will be available in a recap format within our blog. So you can go ahead on over there and rewatch or share it and get a hold of all of the slides with all of the content. So, as a special little treat as well, we're actually doing something that we have yet to do in the past, but we are revealing the topic and opening the registration for October's webinar. So, I'm going to pop over onto the next slide and show everybody this little preview of what's coming up in October. Now, this is an awesome tie in for everybody interested in the contents of this call that we just had. This is addressing everything ADHD, which I know is a topic that often comes up with homework struggle as well. Um, so this is going to be a wonderful follow-up presentation that we address the ADHD disorder, and it will be going on during ADHD Awareness Week. And we'll have guest expert Heidi Bernhardt, a registered nurse and founder of the Center for ADHD Awareness Canada. So right now, if you visit community.scholarschoice.ca, our community page, you'll find a banner on the top of the page that if you click on that one, it'll bring you right to the registration page. So everybody can begin signing up for that one now. So you can also join our Facebook page. I'm going to pop over to the Scholars Choice info here. You can join our Facebook community that is now over 8,000 members at facebook.com/scholarschoice.ca. We're always releasing new great content, and we usually inform people on Facebook first. So please join us over there and join Elaine's Easy Daisies while you're at it.
Thank you.
And if you have feedback about this webinar, we'd love to hear that on our Facebook page or within the follow-up survey that we do send you via email after this evening's presentation. Sorry. We can also be visited on Twitter or on our online store and on our community page. So we really hope that everybody is leaving this call feeling inspired and empowered to just successfully tackle the homework battle now. And Elaine, thank you so much for all of your insight.
Thank you so much again. Thank you for having me.
Amazing. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for joining.